So, welcome back to physics class. So, from physical science, we are done with chemical bonding for this time, and now we are moving on to electric current. Right. So, already you know what is meant by current. Current is equal to charge by time, or charge flowing per unit time is electric current. So, what is a charge? In talking about charges inside the atom, we have two charges, positive and negative charges. And the negative charge is the charge of the electron, positive charge is the charge of the proton. Both have same magnitude, which is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. Why do we talk about only the charge of electron and proton? Why? Because see, electron charge, whenever we speak about it, is like charge is always quantized. That means in terms of multiples of 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs, we will be talking. Why is it so? Why? Because there are also charges which are less than this. We call them as quarks, but those do not exist in free state. So always whenever it is a charge flow, we'll talk about number of electrons flowing together. Okay, so therefore that means electron is the minimum charge which is in free state. That means charge of electron is the minimum charge which is in free state. Thus we always talk about charge of electron whenever we talk about current electricity or electric current. So what is the charge of electron, children? 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. So, based on conductivity, that means where the charges will be more, free charges will be more. So, that is what we call as like based on conductivity. Means whether the material can conduct electricity, that means can allow the charges to flow through. That means we have three types here: conductors, insulators, semiconductors. Insulator is also called as bad conductor, which do not allow electrons to flow through it. Right? So that means it does not allow electricity to flow through, or it is not a conductor. It do not conduct electricity. Conductors, by name it is very clear that it allows the current to flow through it. That means charges to pass through it. What are the charges which are like majority of the charges are free electrons. So there will be maximum number of free electrons in case of conductors. Thus we call that those materials as conducting materials. And what are the examples? Copper, silver, almost all metals, as well as water and human body are the best examples of conductors. When it comes to insulators, so electrons are minimum, that means free electrons are almost minimum or almost negligible. And examples of the material are wood, nylon, rubber, etc. And almost all non-metals, almost all non-metals. And now when it comes to semiconductors, children, you will be learning this in the higher classes, right? There are two kinds of conductors, conducting charges or the moving charges inside the semiconductors, where we call them as one as electrons, which you know very well. The others are holes. Already children who are attending IIT foundation classes, you know what are meant by holes. And now I'm just leaving it like this. There are two types of charge carriers. That means the charges which can flow inside the material or which can move inside the material, causing conductivity, causing electric current. So those two are called electrons and holes. Usually the examples for semiconductors are silicon and germanium. Silicon and germanium. And from periodic table you can see what are all the other examples for metals, non-metals and semiconductors. Okay children. So materials based on conductivity, we can classify them as conductors, insulators and semiconductors. Right. Now coming to a particular activity to understand how the materials and then what is that which is making the electrons to move. So let us observe case 1. Here you can see that in the circuit there is a battery. Okay. And the connecting wires are copper wires. And so when the battery is connected to this, you can see that the bulb is glowing. This is case 1 of a particular activity. And now let us see case 2. Here there is no battery connected. Of course, connecting wires are copper wires, which are good conductors. and now you can see that the bulb is not glowing. And now if you see case 3, connecting wire, there is battery and then bulb is not glowing, and here the connecting wires are nylon wires. So what do we conclude from all these 3 cases? See, the first case, it is closed, circuit is closed. That means there is a chance for the electrons to flow throughout the circuit. And here it is open because there is no connection to the battery, and neither these two are connected by any means, right? So therefore this is an open circuit. There is no source of energy to drive the electrons so that there can be a current through the bulb. So therefore bulb is not glowing. Now when coming to this, there is a source, of course, there is a device, but here wires which are used are nylon wires. Nylon is an example for, say, insulator, bad conductor. That means it will not allow the electrons to flow through it. Thus the bulb is not glowing. So that means here, as though it is appearing as a closed circuit, but here nylon wires do not get connected with these two directly. Hence that means these nylon wires are not electrically letting the connection be there between these two. So thus the bulb is not glowing. Okay children, so this is how we understand. That means for a bulb to glow, so what are the conditions? The condition is that there should be source of energy to drive the electrons. The other one is that there should be a path for the electrons to move from the source to the target, right? So here, or to the device. Here the wires are copper wires. That means there is a good path for the electrons to move from battery to the bulb. And here when it comes to this, the path is not clear. This will not allow the electrons to flow. Therefore, bulb is not glowing. And first of all, here though there is no source at all to make the bulb glow. So do you understand now the difference, like open circuit, closed circuit, and the connecting wire should also be conducting wires. Okay children, so just take the screenshot and copy the notes. Electric current, the basic things you are supposed to know is about charge measured in coulombs, materials based on conductivity, and the next activity to understand when a bulb glows and what is the importance of the battery and the connecting wires. Now discussing about movement of electrons in a conductor. So we are talking about conductor, is it not? Conductor means, what did we say? There will be majority of free electrons moving inside the conductor, right? So suppose in an open circuit, that means when there is no battery connection to a conductor, let us suppose that this is a copper wire. So wire is of this shape only, is it not? Cylindrical shape. So, and in this wire there are so many free electrons. Okay. So now in a particular cross section, that means in this particular area, let us suppose how the electrons are moving. You can see that the electrons are free to move. Therefore, they are randomly moving here and there. And hence some of the electrons may move from left to right, and from right to left also they will be moving because they are free to move. There is no driving force for them, or there is no restriction for them. They are able to move inside the conductor very freely. So there is no specific orientation. There is no specific unique direction for electrons to move. So they are randomly moving. What do we call? Randomly moving. So they are moving randomly. Hence the number of electrons crossing this from left to right or from right to left will be equal, and thus there will not be a net charge crossing the particular cross-sectional area. When, in which case, in an open circuit, that means when there is no battery connection. Suppose when there is a battery connection here, that means the circuit is closed circuit, right? When the circuit is closed. So what do we see here is that there is a driving force. That means the chemical force, that whatever energy that the battery is having, that is distributed here inside the circuit in such a manner that all the electrons will be driven in a particular direction. Okay, so now here a positive charge is given, and the electrons in fact will be moving. How the electrons will be moving? Towards the positive plate. Electrons will be moving towards the positive plate. But whenever we talk about the current in case of electrons is always opposite to the direction of the motion of electrons. So this will explain you the direction of current, whereas how the electrons move. Electron is negatively charged. Here you have a positive plate. So electrons always tend to move like this, towards the positive plate, away from the negative plate, towards the positive plate, away from the negative plate. So but what if you talk about the current? Current is always opposite to the motion of the electrons. So we take conventionally the flow of the current to be like this, which is opposite to motion of electrons. Motion of electrons. Okay, children. So this is how we will, like, means what is happening here is that the battery whichever is connected to the electron conductor makes the electron move in a specific direction, thus creating the current inside the circuit. So how is the current defined? Current is defined as charge, net charge crossing a unit surface area per unit time. So I is equal to Q by T. Now what is Q? Net charge means number of electrons multiplied by charge of the electron. So if it is only one electron, so what is the charge here? 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. That is when only one electron is here. That means when n is equal to 1. If there are 2 electrons, then you need to multiply this with 2 into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19, is it not? So when charge of the electron is 1.6, only one electron is crossing, you can take this. But there are number of electrons crossing the circuit or passing inside the circuit, crossing a area. So therefore that is n into E, where n being the number of electrons, E being the charge of the electron, n being the number of electrons. So that is how, before you proceed to solve any numerical, you have to remember how many electrons are given inside the problem. So you should see for that one. Don't directly say that it is charge of electron by time. No, it is charge by time. What is the charge? Number of electrons multiplied by charge of electron. Right? Okay. If one electron is there, 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 is the charge. Or if there are 5 electrons, 5 into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs is the net charge. So therefore, children, please remember, I is equal to capital Q by T, where capital Q is equal to N into E. So this is in case of solid conductors. That means something like metals. Right? Now if you talk about fluids, that means while we talk about electroplating and the next functioning of the battery in earlier classes, you can see that electrode, one will be cathode, one will be anode, and you can see that the positive and the negative ions moving within the liquid of the battery. That means inside the fluids, both charges move, positive charges as well as negative charges, both will move. Okay, and because of that, the net charge there we will mention it as plus or minus Ne. Plus or minus Ne. Because plus for positive charges, minus for negative charges. If that is the case, you can write it as, if you wanted to speak about the magnitude of the charge, it is only Ne. If you want to talk about the sign of the charge, then it is minus Ne. But while measuring I, we will not talk about minus here. But only to understand, suppose if a half mark question is asked that 5 electrons are traveling, then the net charge is negative. If current is asked, there is no need for you to mention either positive or negative here in case of conductors. But you have to remember that current is always opposite to the movement of electrons and is similar to the direction of the motion of positive charges. That means current is in the direction of the movement of positive charges and opposite to the movement of negative charges. That is very, very important, children. You have to remember that one. So in case of fluids, thus we will write as Q is equal to plus or minus Ne. So units of current, ampere, usually mentioned with capital A. So 1 ampere is equal to 1 coulomb per second. And if you wanted to find out number of electrons in 1 coulomb, it is 6.625 into 10 power 18 electrons. That means in 1 coulomb of charge, for a charge to be 1 coulomb, at least there should be 6.625 into 10 to the power of 18 electrons. These many electrons can make 1 coulomb of charge. Okay, children? So now pause the video and copy down the notes. Movement of electrons in a conductor. So in an open circuit, their movement is random movement. In a closed circuit, there is a specific direction for the motion of electrons. And always remember that the direction of the current is opposite to the movement of electrons. And I is equal to Q by T, where Q is equal to NE. In case of fluids, we have both positive and negative charges. And 1 coulomb makes, or 6.625 into 10 to the power of 18 electrons can make 1 coulomb. So the next topic here is drift velocity. See, in the previous condition, we have seen that when a battery is connected to a conductor, you can see that electrons are moving in a specific direction, like this. We are saying it directly. But when we talk about microscopic conditions inside, see, inside a conductor, there are free electrons, means those electrons which are in the outermost orbit of the atom, and they will get excited at room temperature, and you have so many electrons free to move. If they are free to move, in the sense they are leaving a particular atom and moving, right? When they leave a particular atom, what are there? Positive ions are formed. So these positive ions, let us suppose that these blue dots are positive ions. So these are immobile, they won't be moving, they are fixed in lattice. So when they are fixed in the lattice in their crystal structure, only electrons are supposed to move. When these electrons are moving, see, randomly, suppose if this electron is moving in this direction, it goes and hits to this heavy positive ion. So what happens? It gets bounced back like this, and it may go and hit another one, and from here it may go hit. So that means what is happening here? There is a random movement as well as random collisions with the ions present here. If the circuit is open, that means if there is no battery here, right, then they will be colliding, and they'll be moving just like this only, or they may come to rest. But when there is a battery, that means this battery gives enough force to the electrons again to move in the direction. Again, to move in a specific direction. So let us suppose that if the electrons are moving like this, let me take this as negative plate and this as positive plate, then it will be easy for you to understand. So electron is getting repelled by the negative plate and getting attracted by the positive plate. Thus a net force is acting on the electron. So these electrons are again and again accelerated, and they are made to move in the conductor. Thus what is happening? Number of collisions, number of times the electron gets excited, the number of times it will get accelerated, and number of times it will be moving within, and finally the electrons come out of the conductor, or they pass into this, means throughout the circuit. So by creating a potential difference or giving a potential difference here at the two extreme ends of the conductor, you can see that even though there are number of collisions and then sometimes coming to the rest and getting accelerated and moving together, finally, so these electrons will tend to move within the circuit. So what is happening? Let us assume that on the whole study, let's not complicate it to study how the electrons behave. Let's minimize it by thinking that they all move with some constant velocity, which we call as drift velocity. Why is the name drift? It is drifted. See, it is something that there is so much resistance offered by all these ions for the movement of the electrons, but the electrons are again and again drifted to move forward. So thus we call that to be the drift velocity, right? The average constant velocity possessed by the electrons we call as drift velocity, right? So let's not complicate it like this. Let's simplify it like this, right? So let us suppose that we are considering a particular volume of the conductor. In this volume, let area be the area of cross section. This is area of cross section, is it not? You people know it. Area into thickness gives you volume. So L being the length of the distance traveled by the electrons. And then what is the distance is equal to velocity into time. So let us suppose that Vd is the drift velocity and the time of travel is t. So Vd into t is length, right? So now let us imagine n to be the number of electrons per unit volume. right? Area of cross section is capital A, Vd is drift velocity. Now how do we find out volume? Therefore volume is equal to, net volume is equal to distance or thickness into area, is it not? What is thickness? Vd into T into area being A, right? So this is volume. So now what do we have? Number of electrons per unit volume. So N is equal to, per unit volume, if it is N, right? In a volume of Vd into T into A, so we have total to be. So total is equal to, see, for like suppose there is n electrons in unit volume. In this volume, how many electrons will be there? You have to multiply this volume to this, right? So therefore N into Vdt into A, right? So where is area of cross section? Vd into T gives you the length of the wire or the distance traveled by the electrons. So that is thickness into area is equal to volume, and N being the number of electrons per unit volume. In the total volume, you have these many electrons. So total electrons. Right. So therefore now if I talk about current, what is current is equal to? Current is equal to charge by time, is it not? Charge by time. So total electrons is equal to this. Then for what is the charge is equal to? These total electrons multiplied by E, is it not? E being the charge of the electron, is it not? So therefore I can write it as N into Vd into T into area into Q being the charge by T again by time. So time and time will get cancelled. So what is I is equal to N Vd A into Q is I. So current is equal to number of electrons per unit volume. Vd is the drift velocity, A is area of cross section, Q is the charge. So now can you find out Vd? Yes, absolutely. What is drift velocity is equal to I by NAQ. Vd is equal to I by NAQ, right? So this is how to find out the drift velocity. So in numericals, they may give you the current value, area of cross section, number of electrons passing through unit volume, and thus Q being the charge of the electron. Here you can take that. Okay, so in substituting that, you can find out drift velocity. Okay, children. So again, I'll repeat the whole thing. Listen carefully and take the screenshot so that you can copy the notes. Right. So what did we consider? See, whenever it is a closed circuit or when you create some potential difference, so that potential difference or some EMF, whatever is connected there, or the battery connected there, that energy will give sufficient energy for the electron to cross all the barriers on its way and then move throughout the circuit. And therefore, let us simplify it like this. And now suppose in this particular volume there are some electrons. We call those electrons to be number of electrons per unit volume. If volume is 1 unit, then N is this. And a volume is whole thing. This whole thing multiplied by N gives you the total number of electrons. How to find out the volume of this? Volume is equal to area of cross section into length. Suppose if you take it as a cylinder also, you can see area of cross section of the cylinder multiplied by height of the cylinder, right? So this is the distance traveled by electron. What is the distance traveled by the electrons? That is velocity into time. So therefore Vd into T, where Vd is the drift velocity and T is the time. Now volume is equal to thickness into area. You are determining volume. And now total number of electrons is equal to number of electrons multiplied by volume. And now how do we define current? Current is equal to charge by time. Now what is the charge? Total number of electrons multiplied by charge of each electron divided by time. Time will get cancelled. So therefore N into Vd into AQ is current. Or drift velocity Vd is equal to I by NAQ. Remember children, they may define, say here I have cancelled T and T to make you feel comfortable, or sometimes they may define it as just only number of electrons passing through the volume per unit time. There itself they will say per unit time. That means you will make it as T is equal to 1 here. When T is equal to 1, NVD into A. And while defining current, they'll say charge per unit time. So in unit time, what is the charge? That means NVD into AQ. So T will not exist, and then afterwards there is no need for us to cancel it. Whichever you think you are comfortable, you can do it. You can make it here the total electrons through unit area in unit time, through a particular volume in unit time. When you write it as unit time, T will get eliminated here itself, and there you have to make the correction charge per unit time. Therefore T is equal to 1 here. Hence you will get this as the final equation. Makes no difference. This is from the most fundamental definitions I have taken, so that you will not get confused. Okay, so take the screenshot. So while explaining, you need to explain that in a conductor, so electrons would move randomly, they'll hit the positive ions, and they will be, there is a chance for them to bounce back or to come to rest. But by creating a potential difference across the ends of the conductor, the electrons gain sufficient energy to move in a specific direction. So that first you have to write. Whatever I said in the beginning, that you have to write here. That's an introduction to it. Then afterwards, these are the assumptions. Then afterwards, this is the derivation part. Then now, the other terminology, what we are supposed to know. Electromotive force, EMF. This is, whenever we talk about EMF, that means for battery, potential difference between the terminals of the battery, we call as EMF. Like that means like this. So whatever the potential difference you have, whatever the voltage that is there in the battery, that we call as EMF. Okay, and how do we define it? Already we have understood the meaning of EMF. What did we say just now in drift velocity? The energy which is there inside this battery will drive the electrons throughout the circuit, is it not? So that is what we are defining as the amount of energy dissipated in moving unit charge through the circuit is called EMF. Right? So the amount of energy that is dissipated, that is distributed throughout the circuit. So therefore EMF is equal to work done by charge. Work done is energy. Energy by charge. So this is how we'll write. And what kind of energy do you have in a battery? Chemical energy. What is the source of EMF? Battery is the source of EMF. These are the terms that you should remember to, in order that we can proceed further. Right. Then how is the EMF or the voltage is measured? This is measured with the help of voltmeter, which is connected parallel to the circuit. In the next class, you will be seeing what is meant by parallel to the circuit. Now, potential difference. That means inside a circuit. That means between any 2 points, A and B. Suppose if you talk of a circuit, let me take a circuit here. So between any 2 points, maybe between these two, or between these two, whatever it is, between any 2 points, if you are finding the potential difference, so potential at this point and potential at this point, and you find the difference between these two, that is the potential difference. Then what is meant by potential difference? It is similar to EMF. EMF is the only thing which belongs to the battery. But potential, here potential difference between the two terminals. Here potential difference between any 2 points. That means it is again the work done in moving a charge between these 2 points. It is the work done in moving the charge between these 2 points. So therefore, what is potential difference? V is equal to W by Q. But what is W? What is work done? You all know that work done is equal to force into displacement. Is it not? If L is the displacement of the electrons, then force into L gives you W, or V is equal to F into L by Q or W by Q. In whichever manner you want, you can remember, and both are important. Units is same, volts, measured by voltmeter again. Okay, so what's the difference between EMF and potential difference? EMF, it is only measured for the open circuit. That means between the two terminals of the battery. Where potential difference? Between any 2 points inside the circuit. Okay, children. Same formula. Mathematically expressing, both are same. Units are also both are same. The measuring device is also same. The only thing is that potential difference means difference of potentials between. That potential means energies here. right? So energy per unit charge between 2 points, and here between two terminals of the battery, positive and negative terminals of the battery. And the last part of today's lesson, resistance. You all know very well that obstruction caused by the material for flow of electrons. So conductors have very less resistance. Insulators have very high resistance. Semiconductors offer partial resistance. Unit is ohm, and this is represented as a hat symbol. So factors affecting resistance, on which factors does it depend? It depends on temperature. It depends on length of the material. That means R is directly proportional to the length. And it depends on area of cross section. R is inversely proportional to area. That means the more the thicker the wire is, the resistance offered is very less. The more longer the wire is, resistance offered is very high. And also it depends on the material. We have seen it already. Copper has different resistance. A conductor, copper is a good conductor, therefore resistance offered is less. That means it depends on the material, the kind of the material you are taking, and the characteristic feature of the material is called specific resistance or resistivity. This we can see tomorrow. Okay, children? Right. So this is all about the definitions and the basics of current electricity. So take the screenshot. EMF, potential difference, resistance.